bring you the definitive guide to hip parenthood, how to understand your kids and know your hip-hop from your hardcore, your techno from your psycho groove. Yo.
Mums and dads, ever felt left out when your kids are talking house, techno or garage? Well, here's a chance to find out what it's all about. Get ready for this.
I'm Jessica and I'm into house.
I'm Emma and I'm into rap, rare groove, swing and jazz funk.
I'm Susie and I'm into acid jazz, hip-hop and a bit of ragga.
I'm Tristan.
I'm Darren.
I'm Melanie. I'm Corinne and we're into hybridity.
Okay, you're confused. There's so many music styles and you don't know where to start. But you want to be the hippest mum and dad on the block, but you haven't a clue on which music you should be into. Well, follow me and all will be crystal clear.
Well, I think rave music actually originated from, say, early 70s underground disco, where people would go to clubs and smoke naughty things and basically dance and listen to music that perhaps wasn't commercially available at that time, something a bit underground.
Well, the rave scene's based around techno music, which originates from using industrial noises. It's basically congregated with a lot of people. I mean, it's not a small scene, it's a very large scene of like thousands of people.
Motivating rhythm of life with a healing rhythmic synergy. Motivating rhythm of life.
Of course, if house, rave or techno isn't your scene, and you like your music a bit more down-tempo, well, why not check out a bit of hip-hop?
Don't believe the hype.
Well, hip-hop is rap and it's basically talking over a beat. And it originated in the early 80s, old school rap, in America, and got very popular with breakdancing, which is a massive big phenomenon in the early 80s too. And James Brown is the person who really started it, because in the 70s, he used to talk over tracks. And so it's got to the kind of big thing that it is now.
So it won't be me to cast the first stone, cause I got far too many hang-ups of my own. And furthermore, if the truth be known, I want mercy when my cover gets blown.
You tell me 70s is back, so how about sorting out your players, wobbling in a pair of platforms, and checking out the sounds of garage, rare groove, or even a spot of 70s disco.
I think the 70s revival is bigger than ever nowadays, not just because people are starting to wear flares again, but because Sister Sledge, which is my giveaway this week on Capital, they're just the biggest thing in the clubs. I've got We Are Family on the turntable all the time, and Lost in Music is back again. That's the next single to be remixed by Sasha, and it's happening all over again.
If none of these appeal, don't worry, all is not lost. This could be where it's at. Forget about washing. Grow your hair long and check out the wonderful sounds of grunge.
Grunge is the music that's grown out of Seattle, and that's where it's come from there. Basically, it's sort of trendier than ever that Americans are getting into, and it's crossing over here. And it's a cross between heavy metal and dance.
It's more an attitude than a lifestyle, really. It's just like not really caring about what you look like.
Sorted.
Yes. Well, if you're still confused, how can it be after that? You can find out the type of music that your kids are into, or your friends are into if you're a kid, just by looking at the clothes. Now, Claire here is what's known as the essential rave babe, right? She's sporting the hard black leather look, softened by a sexy purple lycra ruffle blouse, which is all the rage on the dance floor. Now, the rave look signifies that the wearer could be seriously into about, I don't know, 10,000 dance music styles. Techno, hardcore, you know the score.
And Lee is wearing the crucial black street hip-hop look. It's sort of sportswear, really. Malcolm X necklace, Timberland-style boots. Note the fact that the shoelaces are left undone. That's incredibly crucial. He's got the essential woolly hat, and actually, just to confuse you more, the hats can be both rave and hip-hop. Hip-hop music is rap, and it tends to be quite political.
OK, now, Daniel here. Daniel has returned to the 70s. Doesn't he look ridiculous? Huggy Bear hat. Remember Huggy Bear? Essential shades, black flower power top, waistcoat, and the piece of resistance, we think, the psycho flares. The music, I'm very sad to say, speaks for itself. It's 70s disco and rare groove. So, peace and love, Daniel, you know? Peace and love.
And Emma's wearing the grunge look. Doesn't she look lovely? This originated in the States. It's basically looking, well, really as awful as you can. You're into living, you see, not posing. She's wearing a black string top, blue workman's dungarees, and the essential, of course, back to the roots, flower pot hat. Hats are really crucial, aren't they? The music's a sort of mix between unmelodic rock and dance, and their current hottest band is Nirvana. That's it. Do we get the job on Deaf too?
Definitely. Apparently Normsky was supposed to do this bit today, but the dozy so overslept.
Respect is due, my man. I don't think I did that
No,
right.
respect is due, my man.
Yeah, well, I'll get it right next time.
Yeah, all right, never mind.
Thanks, Normsky. Right, you wouldn't think John Inman was exactly cool, would you? But in the States, Mr. Humphries is a cult. He's free, and he's next.
You only get a hug
from a bachelor's mug.
Now in variety packs. Don't forget the pancakes on Jif Lemon Day.
Here at Vision Express, thousands of real customers are delighted with our one-hour service. Listen.
I had 2 different pairs of glasses, one progressives, one sunglasses, within the hour from Vision Express.
I had photochromatic bifocals within the hour.
Vision Express really did make my bifocals in an hour.
It's not a gimmick.
Come watch us make your glasses in about an hour.
And now for a limited period at your Vision Express store, get 2 complete pairs of glasses for the price of 1.
On the way. There is no bomb in that building. I will bet vital parts of my anatomy to the fact. Now, look, just look. Trust me, okay? Trust me. Oops. Yeah.
For video, Woolworths is right up your street.
Just look at it.
Yeah. Thank heavens for the tumble dryer.
Yeah, but mine's not the same as drying outdoors. You ever tried Bounce?
Sylvia, something funny's happening inside your dryer.
That'll be the Bounce.
The Bounce? Hey, it's not all stuck together. And it smells great. Don't tell me. That'll be the Bounce.
Bounce, like drying outdoors, indoors.
They're so big, they're one of a kind. If there's a bigger fight, it can't be heard.
Wagon wheels, kind of big.
Kind of nice.
What's in Kellogg's Rice Krispies?
I don't know. Wheat?
Rice Krispies.
If it's not wheat, I don't know.
Rice Krispies. It couldn't be made with rice, could it?
According to our research, 28% of you know that every Kellogg's Rice Krispie is made with a real grain of wholesome rice. As for the other 72% of you, we've just one question. What on earth did you think it was made with?
Snap, crackle and pop.
Whether it's the best tasting spaghetti bolognese or freshly frozen lasagna, only Dolmio will do. Because every Dolmio recipe uses the finest natural ingredients, all combined to create that delicious Dolmio taste. For spaghetti bolognese or freshly frozen lasagna, Dolmio is simply irresistible. Dolmio, only the best will do.
Hiya. Now, he's surely the most unlikely cult hero to hit the States since Benny Hill. Mr. Humphries, a.k.a. John Inman, freaked millions of British viewers about 20 years ago, but now his mating cry of "I'm free" is incredibly the coolest catchphrase in California. In fact, one channel there is now screening the show 3 times a day. Love it.
Welcome, John.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you. What is all this stuff about the States? Literally, it's got this huge cult following, and very unlikely, I would have thought, because it's such essentially British humour, isn't it?
Yes, but it's postcard, you see, isn't it, really? Yeah. There's not a lot to think about. It hasn't got a message. The message is sit back and laugh, because it is funny, and it's visual, and it's a bit naughty as well, you see.
Extremely naughty.
Is it?
We read some quotes from, kind of a fanzine in the States where one guy was saying that they just are freaked out by the fact that you have jokes about Miss Slocum's pussy.
Yeah.
And, you know, in America...
Mrs. Slocum.
I beg your pardon, Mrs. Slocum's pussy. Mrs. Slocum's pussy. I mean, she actually, on a clip that we showed when not Mrs. Slocum, but Molly Sugden came on the show about a year ago, there was a clip And it's almost Shakespearean in its boriness, where she says, "I'm sorry I'm late, Mr. Humphreys," she said, "but my pussy's been gasping all night."
It's all right, Richard. I think we've had enough of this for this time in the morning.
The point is, in Britain, we get away with that kind of stuff. And in America, traditionally, they're extremely frosty about it. But they seem to have taken it.
Yes, well, they've taken it because they can't do it. I don't think they're allowed to do it, you see. If you look at their sitcoms, they're full of horrendous children. Aren't they, really? They all start off with, "Have you done your homework?" and "Your dad will be home in a minute." And that's how ours used to start. You know,
well, they're very family-based. In fact, Are You Being Served, in a sense, was about a family, but it was not a normal family. It was a family of people who worked together.
Forced together, really.
Forced together, yeah. You obviously all got on incredibly well because, I mean, well, you're still together or have been together, making Grace and Favour.
Oh, we do get on very well together. I mean, when there was a gap of, 6 years from Are You Being Served to Grace and Favour, and lots of people say, "Oh, what was it like to see each other, you know? Had you changed?" Well, we hadn't, because we'd seen each other through that 6-year gap. We'd see each other socially, so, you know, we do get on very well.
Well, apparently Rodeo Drive is now sort of echoing to people sort of walking up and slapping hands and saying, "I'm free." I mean, it's become a catchphrase on the west coast of America, and you've actually been over there to do a sort of a tea and cucumber sandwich seminar.
I have indeed, yes. I've been twice now, and I go again on the 3rd of March.
And how do they treat you?
Wonderfully. The last time I was there, I was in San Francisco. I nearly got knocked down, actually, because to start with, they drive on the wrong side of the road, as you know, and that's bad enough, trying to cope with that. But to try and cope with lots of people shouting, "We love you, Mr. Humphreys," and "I'm free," and "Oh, my God, look who's there," and this bike came the wrong way, and I was looking for where the sound was coming from, and I was nearly knocked down.
Got killed.
What do you do at these seminars? I mean, is it you and the rest of the cast, or just you?
No, it's just me. I get fired questions. And,
about you or about Mr. Humphreys?
About Mr. Humphreys. Well, about everything, and about every character, really. They know more about Are You Being Served than I do. They really do, because, you know, they would watch a programme and they'd say, "What happens?" Like that clip you've just shown. I couldn't tell you what happens after that.
No.
But they would,
to save my life, but they would know, and they would know what number episode it came from, what it was called, and how it all finished up.
They're obsessional, aren't they?
How did the characters themselves come to be created? Was it very much in the writing, or did you sort of evolve through it?
Well, it's like a lot of David Croft's stuff. It's a sort of a melting pot. Several characters get thrown into a pot, and let's see who comes out of it. You know, that's really what it was about. But the characters, yes, were created. They were on the page. It was just up to us to...
It also, I suppose it's a bit like Dad's Army as well, because Croft co-wrote that as well, didn't he? There are these lovely little catchphrases which are never overplayed. I mean, "I'm free" was obviously the main one, but there are others like Mr. Grace coming in and saying, "You've all done very well," you know, and you wait for them like
You're
sweets.
determined to be an impressionist, aren't you?
I just love them. No, but they're like little sweets buried in the script, aren't they? And everybody gets very sort of anticipatory, waiting for them, you know, when are they going to come up with that? And that helps.
I want to know what happened to Mr. Humphreys' mother, because he used to live with her, but I don't think I've heard much mention of her in Grace and Favour.
No, poor soul. No, she's left at home with her Zimmer. No, I did a programme last March, in Phoenix, in Arizona, to link all the Are You Being Served together. The best of Are You Being Served, it's called. And I did a whole linking programme playing my mother and me. So it was really very hard work, because there was only me in it. You know, so
and what's she like?
Talking to myself. Well, she's quite nice, really. She's a bit of a gadabout, you know. She doesn't really stay at home, as Mr. Humphreys makes out. She does...
behind his back?
I think she's got men friends.
No.
Not Mr. Humphreys' mother, no. Listen, it's very nice to talk to you. I mean, you say you don't think that we're doing any more Grace and Favours?
Well, not that I know of, no, not that I know of. Which is a shame. I was hoping to marry Mavis Moulturd, but...
It's not to be.
It's not to be.
We'll all be very sad if Mr. Humphreys disappears from the scene. I must say, thank you very much for talking to us, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to move you over here now. Won't trip over your feet. Sorry about that. I'm going to move over here now to talk to Chris Steele. Morning, Chris. Hi.
Hi, Chris.
Because Chris is going to be taking your calls, I should say, on the phone. Oh, sorry. Was I supposed to be in the middle? It gets confusing. You're supposed to be taking our calls on the phone, which is about basically teenage medical troubles, teenage medical problems. We do this quite a lot at half term because a lot of teenagers tend to get very worried about what are actually really quite trivial problems, but they're too frightened or embarrassed to go to their own doctor. What do you think are the most common ones?
Well, things concerning your appearance, of course. You know, acne, dandruff. In fact, while you're talking to John, I was thinking about the problems teenagers have, and I just jotted it down. Pimples, parents, periods, pregnancy, pill, pong, your smell, and the pubic area, all the P's, and pot.
Well, that just about wraps it up then. Thank you, Chris. I think we can just send out those little cards and everyone will be fine. Yeah.
Okay, so right. When a teenager comes to you with something which they are very embarrassed about and is really troubling them, how do you kind of broach it? If they won't come out with it straight away, do you have to talk your way around it?
Yes, I mean, you've got to gain their confidence, and you know, the fact that, you know, I've got 4 children as well, and yeah, you might even actually talk about, you know, some sort of pop music recently. Just gain their confidence, and once they've actually realised that you're a normal guy, you're not this, you know, distant person on a pedestal, you've broken the ice then forever, and once they've actually made that initial sort of confidential relationship with you, they know they can come back again and again. One important thing I should like to tell teenagers is that if you're 16 or over, if you see your GP, it is totally confidential. Your parents won't be told, your friends or relatives will not be told. 16 or over, total confidentiality.
Doesn't matter how friendly the parents are with the doctor?
Yeah, I see a lot of teenagers who I know their families, etc., but the medical information goes no further than my consulting room. It's totally confidential.
Okay, because the trouble is, quite apart from that a lot of teenagers, I mean, you know, it's a worrying time, and it's the kind of time when you can lie awake in bed worrying about something which actually is probably nothing serious at all, but you're embarrassed about coming forward. So that's what the phone-in's for today.
That's right. You know, you could be a girl with, you know, your breast on developing equally on each side, or your boy, you find an extra lump down below. These are lumps and bumps and abnormal shapes and hair developing in peculiar places. This is what they worry about. And
okay,
that's what we'll help them
Thank you very
with.
much for now, Chris. Thanks. So whatever your teenage health worries, or if you're too embarrassed to talk to your own doctor, you can give Chris a call in complete confidentiality. You don't have to give your real name if you don't want. The number is 051 555 1000, and he'll be taking your calls at 11:40. Well, coming up, we meet the man who's devoted his life to unlocking the mind of a psychopath. His latest book on cannibal killer Jeffrey Dahmer is so controversial, publishers refuse to print it in the States.
And we've got the launch of the 1993 This Morning short story competition. Yes, it's back with Linda LaPlante, the best newcomer in the Brit Awards, Tasman Archer, and the amazing story of a young woman's battle against anorexia and how the camera convinced her that she needed a cure. All that's after the latest news read from ITN by Nicholas Owen.
Thank you, Richard. Good morning. A policeman is fighting for his life in a Sunderland hospital this morning after his patrol car was attacked last night. He was driving past a city centre housing estate when his car was hit by a missile. The officer, who's not yet been named, has serious head injuries. Police in Manchester are hunting for 5 prisoners being tried for the Strangeways riot who escaped from police cells yesterday. The breakout came at the end of yesterday's proceedings at Manchester Crown Court. The Home Office said the escape was a very serious matter, and the Director General of the Prison Service has ordered an immediate and urgent inquiry. Unemployment figures are expected to pass the 3 million mark today. It'll be the highest jobless rate since the mid-1980s. The Employment Secretary Gillian Shepherd said she was very concerned about the rising figures. However, she said all the conditions were now right for economic recovery. The US President Bill Clinton has told America that government spending must be cut and taxes increased if the country is to recover. In his first State of the Union speech, he said there could be no more something for nothing.
For President Clinton, this was the hard sell of a recovery package with a blunt message.
Spending must be cut and taxes must be raised.
The rich will bear the brunt. Their tax rate effectively rises to 40%. But most Americans will face higher energy taxes. Petrol and heating oil will cost more. But President Clinton said there had to be sacrifice if government borrowing is to be cut.
We must now break the habits of both political parties and say there can be no more something for nothing, and admit frankly that we are all in this together.
Government spending will be cut by $250 billion, and civil servants now face a 1-year pay freeze.
Well, I don't like losing money, just like anybody else.
We all have to do what's necessary to get the deficit under control.
But in return, the president promised to create 500,000 new jobs. The Democrats loved it. In total, he was applauded 77 times. But Bill Clinton's now certain to face a harder task selling the near-record tax increases to Republicans and the American people.
Still in America, researchers at a hospital in Massachusetts have made what they call the single most promising breakthrough in AIDS research. A new cocktail of drugs has been discovered which appears to halt the spread of the disease in patients infected with the HIV virus. George Strait from America's ABC television reports.
None of the drugs that AIDS patients take to kill HIV can cure the disease because the virus keeps changing or mutating, rendering the drugs ineffective. The new approach takes advantage of that ability to mutate, forcing the virus to make so many changes at once that it stops multiplying and dies. In laboratory experiments, researchers attacked the virus with a unique combination of 3 drugs. AZT, DDI, and a new one, PYR, are all given at the same time. Researchers say that overloads the virus and kills it. So far, this approach only has been tried in the laboratory. Until human trials are performed, scientists warn AIDS victims not to experiment with various combinations of drugs on their own.
Back here, football, David Platt is celebrating today after scoring 4 of England's 6 goals against San Marino last night. Platt made his hat-trick with some quick footwork inside the box. But the best goal of the night was this precision header from Carlton Palmer. Next from ITN, more headlines at 5 to 12. Then in the lunchtime news, the latest unemployment figures, any glimmer at all of a fall in the numbers soon. And the latest on the hunt for the killer or killers of little James Bulger. We start at 12:30. Back now to Judy and This Morning.